She asked for a 2-week break to find herself. By day 3, she was on vacation, smiling in photos with her coworker. So I took her at her word. I found myself in a lawyer's office, filed for divorce, changed the locks, and let her freedom teach her the rest. My name is Daniel. I am 38. I work in operations management for a manufacturing company and live in a quiet suburb outside a mid-sized city. My days are structured: early mornings, long meetings, gym after work, dinner at home. Nothing dramatic. My wife is Melissa. She is 35. We have been married for 9 years and lived in the same house for 7. No kids. Shared mortgage. Shared accounts. Shared routines that used to feel stable. The shift did not happen overnight. It crept in through tone. Eye rolls when I asked normal questions. Sighs when I talked about work. Little comments about feeling trapped, about how I never changed, about how she gave up parts of herself to be with me. Melissa works in marketing for a regional firm. A social office. Happy hours. Conferences. A lot of talk about personal growth. Somewhere in the last year, she started using that language at home like a weapon. One night at dinner, she told me she needed a 2-week break to find herself. She said it calmly, but with that edge she used when she wanted to sound reasonable while making a decision that was already final. She said it was not about another person. She said she just needed space and clarity. I did not argue. I asked what a break meant in practical terms. She snapped that I was proving her point by being controlling, that asking questions was emotional labor for her, that she would stay with a friend and we should not talk unless it was urgent. I nodded, not because I agreed, but because I was tired of conversations where my role was to accept terms without input. She packed a suitcase that night, left her wedding ring on the dresser like a prop, kissed me on the cheek like I was a coworker, told me to use the time to reflect. By the time the door closed, I already felt something settle. Not panic, not fear, just a quiet sense that whatever this was supposed to be, it was not temporary. I did not know yet how quickly the truth would surface, but it did. Day 1 was quiet in a way that felt staged. Melissa did not text. No check-in. No "did you sleep okay?" Just silence, like she was proving she could vanish and I was supposed to miss her enough to beg. I kept my routine. Work, gym, groceries. I told myself a break is either a reset or a slow exit. Either way, I was not going to sit in my own house waiting for updates like a customer support ticket. Day 2, she finally messaged. One sentence. Please do not blow up my phone. I need peace. The funny part was I had not called once. She was preemptively accusing me of behavior so she could justify whatever she was doing. I replied, okay. Let me know if you need anything practical. She sent back a thumbs up and nothing else. That night, I noticed a charge on our joint card for a hotel deposit. Not huge, but not nothing. It was labeled as a resort in Florida. I stared at it for a while, trying to be fair. Maybe she was booking something for later. Maybe her friend booked it and she covered part. But my stomach tightened because breaks do not usually come with beach resort deposits on day 2. Day 3 was when the reality stopped pretending. A coworker of mine, who follows Melissa on Instagram because they met at a company charity thing, sent me a screenshot with a message that said, is this what a break looks like? In the photo, Melissa was in sunglasses, smiling wide, tropical drink in hand. Next to her was a guy I recognized from her office parties named Trevor. Same department. Always too friendly. The caption was something about earning this escape and finding your peace. Finding your peace. That phrase again. I opened Instagram myself and saw more. Airport selfie. Hotel balcony. Her legs on a lounge chair. Trevor tagged in every one. Her ring was off. Her smile looked effortless. I did not comment. I did not call. I just took screenshots and put my phone down. For the first time in months, I felt calm. Because now the break had a definition she could not rewrite later. I did not confront her right away. Not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to see how far she would take the lie if I stayed quiet. By the end of day 3, there were 5 photos. Beach, dinner, sunset, all with the same guy. Comments from her coworkers cheering her on. You deserve this. So proud of you for choosing you. Live your truth. Not one mention of being on a break. Not one hint that there was a husband at home paying the mortgage. Day 4, she finally texted me. She asked if I was doing okay. No mention of Florida. No mention of Trevor. Just that fake concerned tone she used when she wanted credit without responsibility. I replied yes. Hope you are finding what you need. She sent back a heart emoji. That was when I knew the marriage was already over. Not because of the vacation, but because she thought I was stupid enough to accept the narrative she planned to sell later. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove straight to a lawyer's office recommended by a colleague. I did not dramatize it. I did not cry. I just laid out the facts. Married. Shared house. Wife asked for a break. Immediately went on vacation with a coworker. The lawyer nodded like he had heard this story 1,000 times. He explained my options. He explained timelines. He explained how breaks are not a legal concept and how actions matter more than intentions. I retained him that afternoon. On the way home, I stopped by the hardware store and bought new locks. Not out of anger. Out of practicality. If she was free to disappear without discussion, I was free to secure my home. That evening, I boxed up her personal items carefully. Clothes, shoes, toiletries. I left them in the garage, labeled. I did not touch sentimental things. I did not destroy anything. I just separated. At 9:47 p.m., she posted another photo. This time dinner. Candles. Trevor across the table. Captions: sometimes clarity comes faster than you expect. She had no idea how right she was. Because by the time she landed back home, the clarity would already be waiting. Day 5 was when Melissa noticed something was different. She texted asking if I had checked the mail because she was expecting a package. Normal logistics question. Domestic. Like nothing had changed. I replied that her mail was in a box in the garage with the rest of her things. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, she called. I let it ring. She followed up with a text asking what that meant and why I was being cold. She said the break was supposed to be about growth, not punishment. She said I was overreacting and acting dramatic. I sent one message. Just one. I said we will talk when you are back. Safe travels. That set her off. She sent a long string of messages accusing me of snooping, of invading her privacy, of jumping to conclusions. She said Trevor was just a friend. She said Florida was a last-minute girls' trip that he happened to be on. She said I was insecure and proving why she needed space in the first place. I read the messages once. Then I blocked her number. No announcement. No warning. No explanation. I did not need to keep absorbing abuse, just so she could feel heard while doing whatever she wanted. Instead, I met with the lawyer again that afternoon and signed the initial divorce filing. No theatrics. Just paperwork. Dates. Assets. Signatures. On the drive home, I changed the locks. That night, Melissa posted less. No smiling selfies. No captions about peace. Just one vague story about people showing their true colors when you choose yourself. By day 6, she was trying to reach me through email and social media. Voicemails came from unknown numbers. The tone shifted every time. Angry, tearful, calm, and bargaining. She said we needed to talk before I made irreversible decisions. She said she was still my wife, and I could not just shut her out. But I already had. Blocking her was not revenge. It was a boundary. And once that boundary was in place, everything moved faster and cleaner. By day 7, she was asking mutual friends if she could come home early so we could reset and talk like adults. She said the break had done its job, and she had clarity now. She was right about one thing. The break had done its job, just not for her. Melissa flew back early on day 8. I knew because a mutual friend texted asking if everything was okay and whether I was home. That was how she operated when direct access was gone. She used other people as doorbells. She showed up anyway. I watched through the door camera as she stood on the porch with a suitcase and her phone in her hand, clearly trying to call me even though she was blocked. She tried the handle once, then again harder. Then she knocked like she expected authority to open it. I did not. She paced, checked her phone, knocked again, this time softer. That shift told me everything. Confidence drains fast when the script breaks. Eventually, she sat on the porch step and cried loud enough to be noticeable. It felt rehearsed, like volume could replace accountability. When that did not work, she stood up and started talking through the door, accusing me of being cruel, of blindsiding her, of trying to punish her for needing space. She said she lived here. She said this was illegal. She said I was proving why she needed the break. I did not respond. After about 20 minutes, she dragged her suitcase to the garage, opened the door, saw the boxes, everything folded, labeled, intact. That confused her. She expected chaos or rage or something she could point to and call abuse. Instead, she got calm separation. That is when the panic showed up. She knocked again, this time lightly, asked if we could just talk. Said the trip helped her realize how much she missed me. Said Trevor was around, but it was never serious. Said she came home early because she chose us. I stayed silent. Because people who choose you do not need to announce it through a locked door after a vacation with someone else. Eventually, she left. That night, I slept deeply. No tension. No waiting for the next shoe to drop. The next morning, her sister called asking what was happening. I told her simply that Melissa asked for freedom and I accepted the request fully. By the end of the week, the story Melissa was telling started to wobble. Because freedom does not include a guaranteed return. And once someone treats your marriage as optional, the decision stops being mutual. Blocking Melissa changed the tone of everything almost immediately. Without direct access to me, she started spiraling outward. Friends, family, anyone who might relay messages or apply pressure on her behalf. I stayed consistent. I did not argue through intermediaries. I did not defend myself in group chats. I just repeated the same sentence when necessary. The divorce is in progress. Please respect that. Some people did. Some did not. Her sister tried again, this time less aggressive and more confused. She said Melissa was saying she never meant the break to be real, that it was supposed to scare me into appreciating her more, that the trip was poor judgment but not betrayal. I asked one question. If the break was not real, why did she pack a suitcase and leave her ring behind? There was a long pause. Then her sister said she did not know. That weekend, Melissa tried a new approach. She emailed me from an account I had forgotten existed. The tone was softer, reflective. She said the trip gave her perspective. She said Trevor was just someone who listened. She said she realized how much I grounded her and how afraid she was of losing herself in marriage. What stood out was what she did not say. No apology, no accountability, just explanations. I forwarded the email to my lawyer and added it to the file. A few days later, Trevor finally made contact. Not apologetic, defensive. He said he did not know she was still fully married in the way he assumed. He said she told him we were functionally over and just finishing logistics. I asked him if that made the Instagram photos necessary. He did not reply. By then, Melissa was telling people she felt betrayed by both of us, that she had been misled, that she was a victim of bad timing and misunderstanding. The story kept shifting depending on the audience. What never changed was her belief that there should still be a door open for her somewhere. There was not. The paperwork moved forward quietly. The house was secured. Accounts were separated. Every step made the situation more real and less emotional. The break was supposed to give her clarity. Instead, it gave me finality. And once finality sets in, there is nothing left to negotiate. The first real crack came from Melissa's workplace. A woman I barely knew messaged me on LinkedIn. We had met once at a holiday party years ago. Her message was careful. She said she did not want to get involved, but the situation felt wrong and she thought I should know what was being said openly at the office. According to her, Melissa returned from Florida acting completely single. Not separated. Not on a break. Single. She complained loudly about how marriage had been suffocating her. How she finally felt alive again. How Trevor understood her creativity and ambition in ways I never did. The part that mattered most came at the end. The trip had been planned for weeks. Melissa had requested the time off well before she asked for the break. Long before the suitcase. Long before the ring on the dresser. That detail closed the loop for me. The break was never about finding herself. It was about clearing the calendar and managing optics. Around the same time, Melissa shifted tactics again. She stopped accusing and started reminiscing. Emails about memories. Inside jokes. Trips we took years ago. She sent a photo of our old dog and said she missed our life. I did not respond. Then came anger again. She accused me of already replacing her. She demanded to know if there was someone else. Projection, loud and sloppy. Through my lawyer, I asked her again to stop contacting me directly. She did not. So I finished the cleanup. Closed the last joint account. Changed beneficiaries. Updated emergency contacts. Quiet moves that say this is permanent. That was when she finally said the truth without realizing it. She emailed saying I ruined everything by acting too fast. That if I had waited, she would have come back. That I stole her chance to decide. That sentence said more than months of arguing ever could. She did not want partnership. She wanted optionality. And when that disappeared, she panicked. By then, the divorce process was already moving forward without drama. The break gave her freedom. The response took away her leverage. And for the first time, those two things were not the same. By the time the divorce papers were officially served, Melissa had fully leaned into the victim narrative. She told people I blindsided her, that she went on a harmless trip to clear her head and came back to a locked house and legal threats. She framed the break as a misunderstanding and my response as cruelty. Anyone who did not ask follow-up questions got that version. The problem was that some people did ask. Why did Trevor go with you? Why were the photos public? Why was the time off approved before the break? She hated those conversations. You could tell by how quickly she cut people off once they stopped validating her. Around this time, Trevor quietly exited the picture. According to a mutual contact, he was not interested in being anyone's escape plan once lawyers were involved. He stopped answering her calls, stopped replying to messages. The vacation version of him disappeared the moment real life showed up. That seemed to shake her. She sent another email saying she felt used, that she had been emotionally vulnerable and taken advantage of, that she was processing betrayal on multiple fronts. She said she needed closure with me so she could heal properly. I did not respond. Closure is just a softer word for one last attempt to renegotiate terms. Instead, I focused on logistics. I refinanced the house into my name alone, updated insurance, updated my will. Every step made it more real and less emotional. The house changed as a result. Not physically, but energetically. No tension. No waiting for the next argument. No walking on eggshells. Melissa noticed. She started asking mutual friends how I was doing. Whether I seemed upset. Whether I mentioned her. She wanted proof that she still mattered. I did not give it to her. That bothered her more than anger ever did. Because anger means engagement. Indifference means the door is already closed. And once someone realizes they are no longer the center of the story, panic tends to follow quickly. The closer we got to the final hearing, the more frantic Melissa became. She stopped trying to explain herself and started trying to delay. Her lawyer sent a request asking for mediation, citing emotional distress and the speed of the process. They wanted time. Time to cool things down. Time to explore reconciliation. Time to make me doubt my own certainty. I declined. Not rudely. Not angrily. Just firmly. I was not interested in slowing things down so she could feel better about how they ended. That seemed to hit her harder than anything else. She started reaching out to people I had not spoken to in years. Old friends from college. A distant cousin. Even my gym trainer, of all people. Each conversation followed the same pattern. She was shocked. She was blindsided. She did not understand how I could give up so easily after 9 years. What she never said was that she gave up first. A week before the hearing, she sent one final message through her attorney asking for a pause. She said she was willing to do counseling now, that she realized the break was a mistake, that she wanted to come home. The phrasing mattered. Come home. Not rebuild. Not repair. Just return. I said no. The night before the hearing, I slept without interruption. No rehearsing conversations. No imagining what I would say if she cried. I had already said everything that mattered through action. The next morning we sat in the same room for the first time since Florida. Melissa looked smaller somehow. Tired. The confidence she wore on that balcony was gone. She kept glancing at me like she expected a signal. A crack. Something she could use. I gave her nothing. The judge asked routine questions. Reviewed documents. Confirmed understanding. It was quiet. Almost anticlimactic. When it was over, Melissa cried. Softly. Not theatrically. Just enough to remind everyone she was hurt. I felt no satisfaction. Just completion. The break she asked for was supposed to be temporary. What she never considered was that once someone accepts your exit as real, there is no button to undo it. And when freedom finally stops feeling exciting, it is usually too late to trade it back. It has been several months since everything was finalized. Long enough that the noise faded and what remains feels stable instead of raw. Melissa still tells her version. That she needed space. That she was exploring growth. That I reacted harshly instead of supporting her journey. I do not correct it anymore. Anyone who listens without questioning was never going to understand the truth anyway. What actually happened is simple. She asked for a 2-week break to find herself. What she really wanted was freedom without consequences. A pause on marriage while she tested another life, assuming she could step back in if it did not work out. I did not argue. I did not spy. I did not confront her from the beach. I listened to exactly what she asked for and responded honestly. I treated the break as real. When she smiled in those vacation photos with her coworker, she thought she was choosing herself. What she did not understand was that choices are not temporary just because you frame them as self-discovery. I found myself in a lawyer's office because clarity removes denial. I changed the locks because you do not leave the door open for someone who already walked out. I filed for divorce because trust does not survive rehearsed exits and public replacements. Melissa wanted freedom. She got it. What she did not expect was that freedom does not come with a return policy or a waiting room. It teaches you exactly what you traded away, often faster than you are ready for. I am not angry anymore. I am not bitter. I am just finished. When someone asks for space, believe them. When someone shows you they are willing to treat your marriage as optional, make a decision that honors yourself. I did. And that decision gave me peace she could never find on a beach with someone else.